Obviously, the majority of America can look past that and vote him into office regardless of that. But that is not how we will act in our house. And so regardless of who we pick for our candidate, the next day we're going to wake up and we're going to respect the candidate. And, my daughter's in AP Gov and senior year, and she's got all things passionate flying through her head. She is on fire.
Yeah.
She is on fire.
And
my husband and I sit back often and we're like, her brain is way bigger than ours. And her thought processes surrounding this election have been way beyond our scope. But her journey involves maybe political science and law, et cetera. And one thing that I heard in the news this morning, and we were flipping through all channels, right, is that no matter the outcome of this race, young voters or juniors, seniors in high school that are thinking about their career path, this will definitely, on some level, kind of motivate them to pick their career path surrounding what just happened. And it really might influence a lot of them to get into politics. If you have a strong opinion and a strong voice and you want to move this country forward and you think you know how to do it, we obviously don't have a large a large pool of candidates that everyone likes.
Yeah.
I bet if we surveyed America right now, no one loved Trump and no one loved Harris, period. Myself included. We just had to pick one.
Yeah.
How there weren't better candidates, that's kind of the perplexing question.
You know what's funny? People over time have asked me to run for different offices, right? And
that's because of your winning personality.
No. The one reason I won't, aside from my wife divorcing me, is that's the number one reason. Number two is I don't like people to not like me. I try to be the type of person that is friendly to everyone.
Yeah, you're a pleaser. You're a little bit of a pleaser guy.
Right. That's, if you look at my Clifton strengths, that's right in that line, right? It's all about being with people. And
so here's 1,000 people that voted against you. Why don't you like me?
But it's not just that a lot of times it's not just that they don't like you, it's that they are then mean to you.
Yeah.
And again, the Facebook mask, the veil of Facebook, that you can say whatever you want to say when you're typing it.
That's a vicious place. That's
so
tough.
To me, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I would rather, I think, get appointed to a zoning board or a planning board or somewhere I might be able to make some difference in my community behind the scenes without having to run for that spot where I am inevitably going to make enemies, whether I want to or not. So when you say you have to have a strong voice, you have to have a strong backbone. You got to make sure you're ready for that to come, because people are not going to like you when they're done.
So it's funny. That's what I've talked to my daughter about. She's also a pleaser, and she doesn't like it when her opinion isn't absorbed by everyone around. She'll keep hammering you with it, hoping you're going to sweat. Right.
What do you mean you don't agree with me?
One of the things we tried to teach her is that your opinions as a 17, almost 18-year-old girl and lots of young people today is that you have an opinion on certain topics right now. 20 years from now, your opinion on those topics could totally change.
Right.
In politics, you don't have that luxury.
No.
There's many politicians who've been in their 20s and early 30s, Senate, Congress, whatever it might be, who get like absolutely slashed for changing their perspective on different topics. And you really got to stand behind them and know who you are and what you believe in from the get-go. Because if you even consider maturing or changing your opinion in one direction based on what life has thrown at you, you got to be prepared to take that heat. And so it's not an easy industry by any means. And I call it industry because I don't really think it's public service anymore.
That was a lot of Harris's problem in this race, is that she had a body of work in California prior to being elected to vice president. And then they went through this process where she wasn't vetted out and elected to be the candidate. She was anointed to be the candidate. And I think that people looked back at her body of work in San Francisco and saw that all of a sudden now she's all about immigration control, when before she was not. And all these other topics that she has that, she's got something to look at. And you didn't really see any evolution to this big change in her style and strategy and some of the way she thinks now. And that could change. It was 8 years ago, so it's possible it has changed. But the reality is you never had a chance to see that.
Right.
And so I think that people in the end took the well, at least I know what I'm getting into with this clown that we just elected. So I think people felt more comfortable doing that than electing somebody that they didn't really know.
Okay.
That's just my thought.
Okay. In Cumberland, by the way, to bring it more local, Mayor Jeff Mutter has won. He fended off the challenge from Brad Dean. He won by more than 16 percentage points.
Yeah, 58% to 41%.
Okay. Now the 2 at-large Cumberland Town Council seats will be filled by Peter Bradley,
who's an incumbent,
and Michael Kinch.
Incumbent.
Oh, okay. And the other town council members, James Mativier.
I think he's had been on the council. He's back on. Okay. I could be wrong. He could be an incumbent as well.
Timothy McGill Jr.
Yep, same thing. Yep.
Lisa Bolio,
is an incumbent for sure. Brian Barnaro she beat Brian.
Okay.
So he was
Jody
new.
Harrington Sweet.
She's new.
And Robert Shaw Jr.
He's an incumbent. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
On the school committee in Cumberland, Heather Chia, Chea.
Yep, new.
Or
and
Shea.
also ran unopposed. Yep.
Okay. Kerry Feather.
Yep. She is she's on the school committee.
Okay.
Yep.
Kerry Smith.
On the school committee. Yep.
Lisa Goldstein.
New.
Jason Dean.
He is new.
And 2 at-large school committee seats go to Amy Shallcross Vogel.
Yep, she's an incumbent, filling the term of who left? Somebody left, and then they appointed her, and then this is her first election to win.
Okay.
Won pretty good, too.
And Andrew Bacon.
Yep, another newcomer.
So that's
so
the
there's
round
new
things
folks.
out
Let me
there
ask you a question
Cumberland.
in your town, just comparing my town and also where I grew up, which was Smithfield. Do you find that a lot of people are running for school committee, town council that grew up in town, have a history in town, have like the built-in friendship circle in town, let's call it popularity?
Yeah.
So
there's more of those than there are of people who
That's
are
what I was wondering.
moving into town.
yeah, that's the same thing in our town and in the Smithfield too.
Right. The Mutter family's got a deep history in the town of Cumberland. The Dean family has a deep history in the town of Cumberland. Actually, the Shallcrosses, Amy Shallcross Vogel, for school committee, her family's from Lincoln, so they're Lincoln folks. Looking at some of these, I think Lisa Bolio is a town person. Mativier's a town person. Peter Bradley is. Mike Kinch is actually Cumberland and Pawtucket. So there's a history.
We have this conversation often in my house. It's not like I move really far away from where I grew up, but when you have people who I've never thought of running for school committee or town council, but even if I had thought of it, it's like, oh, why bother? Because
nobody knows me. I'm never going to get elected.
Or maybe they know me, but when you're looking at a panel of people who are deep rooted in town, so they grew up in town themselves, they raise their own families in town, so they've got that popularity base of just having more years on their side. You know, I've only been a resident for 12 years versus my entire life being in a town kind of thing.
I think a lot of the people that you see that do that, the people that are successful that come from out of town and come in are the ones that are involved from get-go, right? You have kids, you are involved in all the sports activities, you're on the soccer association, the Little League group, you're involved in all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you meet a lot of people along the way.
Yeah.
You build a lot of relationships and friendships. And then something happens that you say, I don't like the way that went down. I think it could be done better. I want it to be done better. And nobody else seems to be stepping up to the plate.
Right.
And so for all the other things you talked about, the strength of character or the ideas that you have, right? You say, okay, I'm in.
Right.
But you've done some of the groundwork prior to. I think what one of Brad Dean's challenges was in his race was he didn't have any experience in town government. A lot of experience in business, and very successful, mind you. But I don't believe he served on a planning board. I don't believe he served on a zoning board. I know he didn't serve in town council. And he just, the first job you want was the chief executive officer job. Well, like in any organization, you generally work your way up to the CEO. Yeah. So I think that, I hope he goes and does maybe some of that groundwork first, because he's certainly a good candidate. And I think that if you start with that, laying that foundation out for yourself, you got a good shot at making it to that next level.
Well,
doesn't always work.
Sometimes I think it's welcome, that change, because I think sometimes that promoting from within feeling in any organization, and I know Navigant stands on that platform, right? But in my line of work, sometimes in healthcare, I mean, outsiders sometimes in their experience and everything that they've absorbed at other institutions is welcome to really move you forward and create the change that I just was curious. I don't want to get into a huge sidebar on it, but I was just wondering if that's similar in your town as in mine.
Yep. No.
Yeah.
I misspoke earlier. I said John Brian ran unopposed. He did not run unopposed. Michael Disney was running against him, but he handily beat him in election bid. All right, and let's see other things going on. Statewide, everybody's back in. Sheldon Whitehouse for senator, Gabe Emo for representative, Seth Magaziner
I know what you're gonna
in
say.
District number
I think
2
that
is back
Patricia
in.
Morgan did better. She
I was
punched above her weight
impressed.
class for
Well,
sure.
yeah,
For that
she did
debate,
well.
is that what you're referencing? Did
Well,
you watch their debate?
Not just the debate, but the fact that I thought that the results here.
She got a lot of votes.
She 40%. Normally, you think about 36%.
She came out
32%.
guns blazing in that
did.
debate. I was actually not prepared at all for her personality and her position and her voice. I was impressed. So
And just around the state, Don Grabian wins mayor in Pawtucket.
Good.
There
There is no
How has
bigger
he
advocate
not
for
run
the
for
city.
governor?
Right, there's no because he's a god in Pawtucket.
he is. I know. I worked with him for many
And
years,
you know
and
what?
I just
You talk about getting punched.
Yeah,
right?
he does.
That
He
guy
does.
gets punched.
He does.
all the time.
3 times.
Right, 3 times,
Yeah.
and he gets back up,
Yeah.
and he is Mr. Positive.
Yeah.
it's just because he's
Pawtucket.
I can't. He's like a warm hug of a guy. He's a relatable guy.
He is very little. He's a nice guy.
And
Yeah.
in Cranston, Republican Mayor Ken Hopkins has won, and in Warwick, Frank Picozzi has won. So those are the big things going in around the state. And we're going to take a break here in the Coffee and Program, but more coming up. Time for a look at the forecast, which is being sponsored by Allstate Insurance.
When do we think?
The National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning for today because of the extreme danger of outdoor fires becoming uncontrollable. Mostly sunny skies today with a high of 77 and a breeze from the west up over 35 miles per hour in gusts. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight low of 55. Thursday's weather, sunny and breezy, high of 69. Winds up over 25 miles per hour. Friday, sunshine and a high of 62. Saturday, sunny and 54. Sunday, partly sunny skies, high of 60. Sunday night, clouding up and a 60% chance of rain, overnight low of 43. Veterans Day Monday, a lingering 40% chance of showers in the early part of the day, then partly sunny with a high of 64. And Tuesday, mostly sunny skies, high near 61 degrees.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with the sunny skies, we have 65 degrees. Wish you could save on home insurance? With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois. Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up gołąbki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Hi, this is Wendy Pyrus from Community Care Alliance. This November 23rd, mark your calendars for a special event that embodies the true spirit of the holiday season. Join us right here on ON Radio from 6 to 11 a.m. for the Holiday for Kids Radiothon. We have stories to share and holiday splendor to get you in the spirit. Don't miss this chance to make an impact on a child's life and join in on the holiday cheer. 100% of the proceeds raised will provide local children and teens we serve with the magic of the holiday season. Tune in on November 23rd from 6 to 11 a.m.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
All right, it is Coffee and on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith and Tim Draper. And Tim, time for our first message from Navigant Credit Union.
Thank you, Joe. If you're looking for any sort of home improvement financing, you got a project you want to do for the wintertime, you want to replace your driveway, you want to put a nice basement room together, a man or a woman cave down there, and you need some extra equity, need some extra cash, consider using the equity in your house. And give us a call at Navigant's. Give us a call at the website. Yeah, right. That's what I want to say. Give us a call at 233-4700 or visit navigantcu.org, and then you can just navigate right on over to the lending page, see what types of loans might fit your needs, your budget, and your particular situation. And then once you apply, it's a very quick process. Should take 2 to 3 weeks to get you approved with all the paperwork. The next thing you know, you're already hammering that first nail downstairs in the new pool room. So navigantcu.org for all your lending needs, or give us a call 233-4700. We can do it right over the phone.
All right, Tim, or sometimes you're thrown into a situation like I was when my homeowner's insurance company reached out to me and said, well, Joe, we went out and we took pictures and you needed a roof. They just decided I needed a new roof. Now you have two options. You don't have to do anything, and if you don't, we're going to drop you. Or you get a new roof. Your choice.
Really?
Yeah, that was
When did that happen?
Oh, this past year. Last year actually.
Cow, I didn't know they could do that.
Those were my two choices.
Holy mackerel! I didn't know
So
you could do that.
now it was off to.
I guess you can,
know
because
new roof costs.
Yeah, the option was you either fix it so that we don't have to cover rain damage.
Yeah.
Or
you go try to find somebody
another
else.
insurance company who will do it for you.
How would
we're
they
not gonna
even
take
know?
it.
I'm trying to think this through a little bit. So you
They-
purchase a home and you
the
have an
insur-
inspection.
the
Do they
insur-
get a copy of that report when you buy your home?
Oh yeah, but I bought my home in 1999.
No, that's what I'm trying to
So-
do the math on. So do they have like a tickler where they're like, okay, you bought your home this many years ago?
Yeah, and
We-
so we contract some, and I was notified. Some person's going to come out and take photos of your house.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah.
and they did, and it wasn't 4 or 5 months later that you get the report back that says, okay, you need a roof.
Yeah.
No discussion.
Well,
you just need one.
I mean,
And
insurance
now
companies.
it's off to get you got to get a loan, and here
They
we
certainly
go.
can do
Holy
that.
cow.
But I mean, we have replacement value on our house, and I put that in place 20 years ago, and every 10 years or so, they must do a revaluation of your house, but not like home, not by the town. I think they do market value of your house. So I got an insurance bill last year for my homeowner's insurance that was about 35% higher than it was the previous year, and I went, whoa! So I called. And they're like, yeah, when we first did the replacement value of your house, it was X. Now it's Z. And so your insurance rates are going to go up accordingly, because if we have to replace your house, it's going to cost us a whole lot more money to do it. Wow. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's fascinating.
Well, voters in Rhode Island, you have rejected question 1. This is the Constitutional Convention question.
Yeah.
Not happy, Tim?
No, I think that is the basic element of governance, right? You have an opportunity as a citizen to make changes to the Constitution the way you would like to see them made. And without having the Constitutional Convention, there is zero opportunity for you as a citizen of the state to make any change that you feel would move the state forward. I know it's a very simplistic way to look at it, but I like to. I was thinking of it this way. A lot of people, I think, felt that the Constitutional Convention was the group of people would get together, appointed or otherwise. They would decide what things needed to change in the Constitution, and then they get changed. I'm not sure that people understood that there's a second step to that. Calling the Constitutional Convention just means that you're going to get people together to review the Constitution as it stands. They will then make recommendations on things that should be changed or could be changed. And then those things go in the next election to vote. And now you can select any one of those items that you want to change or not change. So you could, yes, I want to change this. Yes, I want to change this. No, 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 no. Right? And so it gives the people the opportunity to drive their future in government. I mean, that's the way I look at it. But I think too many people were convinced that once you said yes to that, or once you said, yeah, we want a constitutional convention, that all things were going to change, and my life is going to be upset because the way I like things are going to change because other people who have more money and more political connections are going to make all these changes that I don't necessarily think are fair or right. But again, I think they forgot that there's a second step to it.
Okay.
Or they didn't know there was a second step to it. So I just think that, the people there was a lot of money sunk into that from the other side from the rejected people.
Okay. Well, speaking
Notice everybody in the House and everybody in government didn't want it.
Right.
That right off the bat says to me, we should do
have
it.
All right. Well, speaking of a lot of money, all the money bond-ish questions were all approved.
Melissa loves this.
$160 million for higher education facilities, $120 million housing bond, $53 million in green economy bonds, and $10 million in matching grants for the Cultural Arts and Economy Grant Program. I added it up, $343 million.
Right.
You Rhode Islanders, sorry, not me. You got to shell out now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that was the first thing Joe said when we walked in this morning. He just started laughing at us. Yeah,
go,
he
here we
started
go.
laughing at us,
Kitchen
and we
open
laughed
the
right
wall.
along
Just
with
take
you.
this- take it away.
We have no idea how we're affording this, but
Yeah.
great. Everyone, you get a car and you get a
get a
car.
car.
and
It's the
it
Oprah
felt,
version
it
of
totally
government.
felt like an Oprah moment, honestly.
And
when
I
saw
understand
the
why
results.
I especially understand why they want to do it for the higher education. They want to do that whole cybersecurity thing
Right.
at Rick, and they want to do
And the
something
life
else
sciences
at
building at
URI.
URI. I mean, those are the
and it's a good idea. It is a good idea.
right. That's the type of thing that I can get my hands around.
Yeah.
But and listen, I am not dissing the arts in any way, shape, or form. But if you look at the four things that bond was going to support, three of the four, I was just like, really? So Trinity gets $2 million. There's a Native American museum that gets another $2 million. And there was one other arts group down in Newport, I think, like the Newport Ballet or something like that, got another
Yeah.
couple $1 million.
Millions, yeah.
I'm like, why are these three organizations going to get that much money when there's so many other arts organizations in the state? The only part of that bill that I liked was the last part that said $4 million to everybody else. So everybody else gets a piece of that if they put in a good grant and they have a good project. That's the way the whole
I
bond
think
should
what
have
Tim
done.
is feeling is that whole idea I shared. I don't have how many
Yeah.
weeks ago we talked about this, but I still the black and white process of yay or nay for all of the
Every
different
component
topics,
of
every
it,
component
yep.
that was presented to us as voters in Rhode Island,
Right.
now just cost us a tremendous amount of
Right.
money.
Oh,
Where
by the
I
way,
think.
Don't we have a bridge we have to fix?
And we have a bridge,
Right.
a very important, expensive
That's already
bridge
paid for,
project.
don't worry
We
about
also have a crumbling healthcare system, but I don't want to go into the depths of that.
Well,
and
remember
I-
the one guy that was in office that was going to help us pay for that bridge just is no longer going to be the president, and none of his cabinet's going to
Right.
be there.
Yeah.
So all those Rhode Island connections folks that we thought we had to pay for this bridge are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I just think that going back to like being able to change how we approach voting, we can't get out of our own way. This is how it's going to be. But if we could have gone about it to say, like you were just agreeing with maybe 3/4 of what was presented, but not all 100% in to say yes versus no, to have my joking, not joking proposition was give $10,000 per each voter. Where would you put that $10,000 for these 10 areas that are being proposed to you? I might have given sprinkles to a few of them, but not all in.
Right.
And it's hard, but now we're stuck with it.
Yeah,
we're
but-
going to have to afford this.
Melissa's using logic again.
Logic. I hate when
I
she does
actually
that.
called it a penny social the first
did,
time I
right?
presented it. I said, "Have you ever been to a penny social?
Put it in the bucket,
I just
put
want
the
to get
ticket in the bucket.
Right. I just want to get my little tickets or my pennies and just drop into each of the bucket.
Right.
But it's something has to shift because there's just too much all in
Right.
to those areas and
It's
special
the-
interest
but
projects
it's the
and
politics
whatnot.
behind the bonds. It's I need to get one particular thing done. So in order to get the support I need to get the bond on the ballot, I got to appease these other three people who want their
It's
piece
just
of the
so
pie.
funny because they talked about the economy on the national level and how groceries are going
Yeah.
up and gas is high and,
and
and
then
I
we
haven't
just
got
do
a minute
this.
for anything. And then these come along and you're like, yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there's plenty of money for that.
Yeah,
Sure.
well, I'm with you.
Alrighty. Up in Massachusetts, though, there were 5 questions on the ballot. They said yes to 3 of them, And one of them was no more MCAS as a high school graduation requirement.
Right. And
They will still use it, but not as a graduation requirement.
It's
And
funny.
So I'm happy with that.
Well,
Yeah.
and if you talk to educators, they're probably very right. You spend all your time teaching to this test.
Teaching the
Yep.
test.
Right. But you talk to people
from the third grade on.
Right, but then you talk to people who are trying to hold educators accountable for their ability to do their job, and they say, how are we going to do that if we don't have a mechanism to assess whether the students are getting their education or not? So, and I have a wife who was very much happy that got chucked out. But I don't know the answer to the question. It is a challenging question. There's no doubt.
All
Because there are
right.
good teachers and bad teachers. It just requires the principals to be good managers and be able to
I think
assess and
it
evaluate.
does point out. I have a kid that happens to be, so my youngest was 5th grade and 6th grade, I think, was flagged 2 years in a row as falling into that like middle ground, could use some extra specialty support in math.
Yep.
However, the grid was mapped out. And it didn't fit her as a student at all because she actually always had consistently high 90s in math from a very young age, even now as a freshman in high school. And it never quite captured her as a student at the test. And so it's just, you wonder if a lot of it is test anxiety or kids that don't care because they know that it's more about the teacher than it is about them. So they don't go into it really even trying. But it does drop these kids into certain buckets. I keep talking about buckets today, sorry.
My daughter was like 13th in class in high school, at Cumberland High School, right? Very, very smart.
Yeah.
AP courses, real smart. But she hated taking standardized
Yep.
tests, SATs and otherwise, because she would have such anxiety
Yep.
going into it. Like, oh my God, what if I get that
What
question
ifs,
wrong?
the what
What
ifs.
if I do?
Oh,
What
yeah.
if I do that? What if I do that? So that test anxiety is real.
Yep.
And when those kids have to go take that MCAS test 2 times, right? They had
Yeah.
to take it in
Like,
sophomore
no.
year in high school,
They
and they
took
get
it
2
in-
more.
No, they took it in 4th grade.
Yep.
And they took it in 8th grade.
Yep.
And then you take it again in your sophomore. And if you didn't pass it, you got to keep taking
taking
it
it.
until you
Right.
passed it.
So just
you
imagine
could
you're in high
graduate.
school, you don't do well the first time around, and you're like, oh God, I got to get it again. Then you take it the next time. And now the anxiety kicks in even higher. And then is the last time around. Now you've had some great education along the way,
Yeah.
but you can't demonstrate any of that because you are so in your own head about
Yeah.
taking a test and filling in
The only
circles.
thing I'll say, having now a senior, so SATs for the last few years have been taken off a lot of requirements for college applications, and they're bringing it back.
Back,
A lot
yep.
of the schools
Are they?
yep,
Okay.
we were touring with, we're like, hey, we're still like another year, we're not mandating it, but in the next 2 years, we're phasing it back in as a criteria. So that would be my only reason to keep it, because what other ways are we preparing our kids for that big test
Right.
that they have to go and take in college? So a little sprinkling of a state mandated test.
Yeah, exactly.
Might just
But to
keep-
make it a
keep that process in
graduation
front of them.
requirement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
is
mean,
the
they're still
hard
going to
part.
use it. So
Yeah,
okay.
I think it probably, but now teachers will feel less obligated to, okay, I got to make sure that question gets answered the right
Yeah,
way.
right. All right, going to get back to the questions in just a minute, but Tim, it's time for a second message from Navigant Credit Union.
Just a reminder to the folks here in Northern Rhode Island, you are getting some upgrades to our ATM fleet, and they're going to be our new, what they call IBKs, or interactive teller banking kiosks, where you can go up to the machine, and if you're at the right machine, there's going to be 2 of them in the Cumberland Hill branch. There is, I think, Woonsocket's on the schedule for next year. Trying to think where our other ones are deployed. Smithfield has one. But basically what happens, you can go to an ATM machine and it works just like a regular ATM machine. But if you actually want to talk to somebody, when we're open and you're standing in front of an ATM machine and you have a question, you can hit a button and actually speak to a live representative, and you talk right to them as if you're standing there in front of them. Pictures are crystal clear, and the sound is great, and you can get all your questions answered right there through the interactive teller kiosk. So those watch for those deployments. They're happening. So by the end of next year, all of our machines should be replaced, and hopefully you'll have a much better experience at the ATMs at all of our locations. So navigantcu.org, and actually you can go there and look at our locations, and it will tell you which branches do have those IBKs. Otherwise, you can call us 233-4700.
All right, there, Tim. Thanks. More of the Coffee AM program coming your way. Stay tuned.
The Valley Breeze has been a local news leader since its founding in 1996, and more people are reading our stories today than ever before. We believe our mission of making our community stronger by telling their stories is not just a tagline, but a way of life for our staff as they connect with you, our loyal readers and advertisers. Our team thanks you for always reading, always reaching out, and always helping toward our shared vision. Check out any of our 5 editions or visit valleybreeze.com for more.
Hi, my name is Yvette Houle, and I'm from Holy Trinity Parish here on Park Avenue. I would like to let everyone know that we are holding our annual Christmas Bazaar in our Parish Hall, 1371 Park Avenue, Woonsocket. It is also handicap accessible. The date is Saturday, November 9th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Featured will be many booths with handmade and crafted items, baked goods, penny social, gift certificate raffle, special raffle, split the pot, and theme baskets. Visit our Santa and take photos as well as give him your wish list. Our kitchen will be open for lunch, which will include the popular Dynamites, hamburgers, hot dogs, fries, onion rings, and Venus de Milo soup. If you have any questions, give me, Yvette Houle, a call at 766-5663.
All right, it's Coffee Ann here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith and Tim Draper, and up in Massachusetts, they said, yes, we will have that person. We will have the comprehensive audit of the legislature. The legislature hated this idea, but that passed, and I thought it was a great idea. Yeah. So
we should have one in Rhode Island, but that's right, we constitutionally.
And we okayed the rideshare drivers of Uber and Lyft to unionize.
See, I don't understand.
I don't understand why that passed. I was against it.
I get that they want a little. They want a little co-op type thing.
Yeah.
Boy, doesn't that just mean you're going to have taxi cabs again?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And the prices are going to go up. And okay, so that's what's going to happen. I mean, they may not unionize, but they probably will at some point.
Gives them the ability to. Yeah.
2 out of the 5 questions in Massachusetts were rejected. One of them was the legalized psychedelic drugs in some situations for mental health treatment.
Oh,
so
boy.
that would have been just.
God.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
I understand that, but mushrooms. I mean, there's got to be other ways to treat mental health besides mushrooms.
Yeah, and that would just open up a door, and
that's what everybody's argument was about marijuana, right? If you approve marijuana,
and that's what's happened.
And we don't have parameters around that yet. Like I think we still haven't even gotten a grip on how to regulate that a little better than it's been.
Right.
Yep.
So far.
And the other one was the tipped waiters and waitresses.
So tell me about that one again. I forget exactly. That one was
they wanted to be able to raise their minimum wage up to the standard minimum wage of $15 an hour.
And it'll eliminate tips?
Yes.
Yeah, they go into a big bucket. Correct.
Yeah. And the restaurant industry were way against it.
Right. I would agree with the restaurant industry.
And the bartenders and waiters and waitresses. So we will make less money.
Right.
If this goes into effect, because it's going into effect in California, and look what's happened.
Yeah.
Restaurants have closed. People have lost their jobs.
Yeah.
And the prices at restaurants have gone up.
Exactly.
It goes.
Exactly.
It's bad. It's a triangle. It's bad all the way around.
Yeah.
So it did not pass in Massachusetts. And I know Rhode Island was looking at that one specifically. Hey, if it passes in Mass, we'll probably put it in Rhode Island too.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they didn't do. You guys didn't do it. People in Massachusetts. Use guys in Massachusetts.
And they spent a lot of money on advertising. Vote no, on question 5. So, all right, we got just a few more minutes to go here in the program, so it's time to let's get to the fun stuff. All right, Jason Kelsey.
We made it.
Oh, here we go. We're coming back to Jason
I feel so
Kelsey.
much better.
Thank God.
And so something happened last Saturday at a college football game. It was Ohio State, I think, at Penn State. Not that matters, but Jason Kelsey, who's now a football commentator. Was walking somewhere and he was fist bumping the crowd of the people like him, but someone didn't like him, and made some kind of remark about his brother and Taylor Swift, with an F word somewhere in there, and so he spins around. Who said that? Yeah. And either someone pointed them out or whatever, grabs the guy's cell phone and smashes it on the ground.
Really? Yeah. Well, he's got some money to replace it.
What I read today,
he could have smashed his face on the ground.
Right.
What I read today is
lesser of two evils. Well,
because he works for ESPN.
Yeah.
And they came down.
Yeah.
You will apologize.
Yeah.
And he did. And I'm sorry. That's not me. I chose to confront hate with more hate, and that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I should be above that. And I apologize. And I read through the whole thing, the whole apology. I'm like, well, what about you replacing the phone?
Yeah.
Nothing on that.
I'm sure ESPN replaced the phone. Somebody replaced that phone.
Well, I'm sure. But there was nothing in there about that. Well, So that do you like the movie The Godfather?
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but yes, I did.
I
yes.
love The Godfather.
There's a scene in The Godfather that's at the beginning, at the daughter's wedding.
Yep.
And the people, the basically the press are outside taking pictures.
Yep.
Well, here comes Sonny.
Yeah.
And what's he do? He grabs
Grabs
the
a
guy's
camera
camera and
and
smashes it
smashes
on the
it.
ground.
No pictures.
But what does he do next?
Get him another camera.
No. He reaches into his pocket, takes out a couple of bills, and throws it on
that's
the
right,
and
that's
just throws it on the ground.
Yeah.
Get another camera.
Get in the camera.
That's
So-
great.
Well, you know what? At
scene.
least he replaced the camera.
He replaced the camera.
Yeah.
and
Don't
I-
take any
I-
pictures. That's the message. And
Yeah.
here's some money. Go get yourself a new camera.
Jason Kelsey should have done the same thing.
Right.
Smashed it. Okay, here's $100. Go get
Yeah,
another. Go get another phone. So
It just still makes you cringe. I'm sorry that the social side of me is just like.
But you know what?
It's not okay to just say that kind of stuff
Yeah,
to people.
and-
You know,
I know.
I don't really blame him.
You shouldn't say
shouldn't-
stuff like that.
Yeah, you're a human being. Somebody just dissed your brother and his girlfriend, and you get
We're
mad.
just supposed to take it, and because he's a public figure, like he's just really supposed to take it. It bothers
You
me
know
a little
what?
bit.
It's okay. He went off the deep end. He lost it.
He did.
says he lost it, which is fine. That's fine. Nobody's going to hold it against him for any length of time. But for ESPN to go, you will apologize. I'm like, oh, you should apologize. You should.
And so he did.
By God,
He didn't. The story doesn't say, well, ESPN is forcing
Sounds
me
like
to
a
do
carefully crafted message by a
this.
public.
It
by a
was.
PR
Here,
by a-
read this.
right, by a PR firm.
All right.
I could say I'm gonna.
No, don't come on. Let it all out. Let it all hang out.
It's just someone that was jealous that your brother's dating Taylor Swift, and now he's jealous. People are jealous all the time.
Yeah.
So, a 40-year-old Nigerian national has been arrested for allegedly running a romance fraud, stealing, and has stolen over $3 million.
Have I not been saying that?
Yes.
Have I
But-
not been saying
$3
that?
million?
Right. We finally caught somebody.
Yes.
Right. Guess what? It's a multi-billion-dollar a year
It
industry.
is. There was a
folks.
whole Dateline episode on this not long
Right.
ago,
It
and it
is-
is insane. There's actors and everything.
Right.
So
it's,
federal prosecutors say Franklin Nwadialo would meet people on dating sites and gain their trust. In one case, he claimed he was in the military and fined $150,000. The victim gave him nearly $2.5 million.
oh my gosh.
There were at least 4 victims. Nawad Diallo operated from outside of the U.S., but when he arrived in Texas, he was arrested. Well, gee, why did he come here? But he'll be extradited to Seattle, Washington, where he will be charged.
Yeah. It was probably.
Wow.
He was probably trying to fulfill one of the components of those frauds, where maybe we just try to meet that person, and she'll see what kind of nice person I am, or could have been even.
Maybe.
Did you
Okay.
see that Dateline episode we talked about
I
a
have
little bit
not-
on the air?
I have
and,
not seen
and
that one.
literally to the point that yes, in another country they were kind of puppeteering this whole catfish story, but they were paying actors in America to go and present as them.
Yeah.
And that's how they were buying into the story even further. So there was actually human contact being had, and there was a whole like underground.
But shame on those
system.
actors. Shame on. But that's just.
Oh, got it.
That is the culture we live in, where it's the easy buck.
Yep.
All I got to do is go
all
scam
about the
somebody.
money.
Doesn't affect me. I'm going to get rich. That person's going to lose everything that they own, and they're probably going to
Yeah.
die penniless in the streets.
Just
So
evil.
well, I don't care.
Yeah. it's
I mean,
just evil.
gosh, I'm just
Very upsetting.
so sad.
You want a good news?
Waiting
Please.
for it. Waiting for it.
President Joe Biden's granddaughter is pregnant.
Oh,
there you
that,
go.
that's a nice little story. Thank you for
She'll
that.
be a great grandfather.
Naomi Biden revealed the news on Election Day, posting a photo of herself in the mirror with an I voted sticker on the baby bump. She is Biden's oldest grandchild, and her baby will be the president's first great-grandchild.
There you go.
Well, that's
Aw,
nice.
That is nice. Are you okay with
How
the,
you didn't open with that? No, I'm just
How
kidding.
come you didn't open with?
Are you okay with the term baby bump?
I mean, it doesn't,
Doesn't
offend
offend
me.
you?
I'm waiting
Oh,
for you to
okay.
tell me why I should be offended.
No, I just, not being a woman, I don't know if
I
they
am not
actually
a woman.
like that term.
Well, in fact, it is a bump because of a baby.
Okay, so you're okay. So you're
Therefore,
It
So
is
you're o-
precisely what it is.
you're okay with
I
it.
take more offense to people
Okay.
thinking I have a baby bump when I don't have a baby in the bump.
So a bun in the oven is probably less appropriate.
It's,
My Uncle Jim used to say, so you got a bun in the oven? Oh, gee,
oh
Jim.
my God.
That's right out of Greece.
Oh, he was Irish way back when.
Well, things change over time.
Things change
right?
over time. They sure do, Joe. They sure do.
This happens every once in a while. Back to Washington. The Clark County Jail in Washington mistakenly released an inmate. Oops.
Oops.
my God.
Maurice Haynes had completed his sentence for theft in Clark County. He was released from jail when he should have remained in custody on a warrant from Oregon. Haynes was sentenced to 15 months in Oregon for criminal mischief. His release date was September of next year. Haynes is described as African American, 6 feet 1 inch tall, 170 pounds, with a tattoo on his right forearm that reads Marishka. Clark County Jail Services is conducting an investigation to determine how the release occurred. Looks like they haven't got him back.
Well,
we're still looking for him.
They expected that he would just turn himself in the other district back in Oregon. He's still hitchhiking across the country.
That doesn't normally happen.
No.
Oh no, that was not released. There was a guy with the ACI.
Here in the
that
ACI
just
just
walked
walked
away.
out. Yeah.
I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
So, but we have Rich Elaine. He's from Post 85 here in Woonsocket,
Fridays.
and his job when he's retired now. He was a correctional officer.
Was he at the ACI?
No, he was in Massachusetts.
Okay.
But he was with the bad. I mean, the bad and the worst of the worst.
Cedar Junction.
Yes, in Mass, because Rich was an ex-Marine and a very large man, and he could handle himself. And I said, you see this on movies and TV of people that are in prison for so long they don't want to be on the outside,
institutionalized,
and they just
it was red,
and so they walk. That read in Shawshank Redemption, right? And they just walk away, and so they know they'll be caught, so they can come back. I said,
Right.
"Is this true? Is this Hollywood?" He goes, "No, that's true.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true." So
Right.
it's like, wow.
Brooks, remember Brooks?
Brooks,
Couldn't handle
yeah.
the outside.
Hung himself.
Yeah.
Sad.
Did you ever see Shawshank Redemption?
It's one of my favorite movies.
It is an unbelievable
We
movie.
do talk about that movie on the air
I know
quite
we
often.
do.
Yes.
We do, but it's such a cool
It makes
movie.
a circuit here every few months.
Well, somebody else's job has been taken away by a robot. Electric robots are mowing the grass at
I'm okay with that.
at Keast softball complex in Dallas, Texas.
I am not. I like cutting the lawn.
City officials say the $250,000 robotic lawnmowers. That's oh my god, that's a
lot of money.
But it'll save money. It will save on both gasoline and manpower. John Jenkins, director of the Dallas Parks and Recreation, says no current jobs will be affected. Someone was cutting the grass before the robots. He says the robots will allow mowing to be done more efficiently. The city says the use of battery-powered and robotic lawn equipment is likely to be expanded to other parks in Dallas.
Well, I struggle with the whole, we don't want to be replaced by robots. Okay, I get that. Nobody wants to be replaced by a robot. But if you can't find people to do the work because A, it's beneath them, or B, they're not trained accordingly or whatever, then what option do you have other than to automate and try to make things happen a little bit better?
But if you
Now, when I'm saying, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in. So this particular situation, right? You get a ball field that needs to get the lawn cut. You have probably a DPW worker cutting the lawn because that's normally what happens. The town services the field if it's a town field. So what is that town worker then not doing that they might be able to do, like maintaining sewer systems and things that will...
It's a good example, but I think it's wrong because my son just took a job up in Maine with a Parks and Rec department.
Yep.
And part of his job might be, well, not now because it's fall.
Yep.
But in the spring, go cut the lawns.
Go cut the lawns.
And if you go apply for a job at a
Yep.
Parks and Rec department,
Yep.
that's going to be one of your job
Unless,
things to do.
unless they've got other things for you to do that would... I always think of Peter Alvedi a long time ago. I should probably mention his name. But he came on and said that at one point the state of Rhode Island had like 500 people working for DOT. And they would always cut the lawn down the middle of 295 and all, shrubs would be trimmed and sewers would be cleaned and all that stuff would be good. And over the years, they basically cut down the number of people that they hired because the budgets get cut and they just cut people. They never replaced them. So now you've got 200 people doing the work of 500 people. If you could find areas where you could automate some of that stuff, then those people could go back to doing some of the other more important stuff that needs to be done, like inspect bridges, for example.
All right, we got to run. We're way over time, so sorry about that.
Just make a note. I have things to say. We're gonna start with all of this next Wednesday.
All right, that
Things
sounds
to
good.
say.
All right, thanks for listening in, everyone. Always appreciate it. Melissa Smith, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
All
See you
right.
next week.
And Tim Draper, thanks for coming in.
Joe, thanks for opening the window today and
You're
enjoy the God-given day.
It is a beautiful day.
It's November. We get the
Catch
heat
the
on.
fresh
gonna be
air. It's
77
unbelievable.
degrees today.
I know, crazy.
Unbelievable.
All right, this is Joe Callahan. Have a great day, everyone. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do you remember at 9:30 on ON Radio?
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
Voters in 4 Rhode Island communities elected mayors yesterday. Here in Woonsocket, incumbent Chris Beauchamp has narrowly defeated challenger John Ward in the mayoral race here. Ward called to concede, with the unofficial results showing Beauchamp 51% of the vote compared to his 47.7%, according to the State Board of Elections website. Down in Cranston, Republican Mayor Ken Hopkins appears to be on the way to a second term, picking up 54% of the vote there over Democratic challenger Robert Ferry at 46%. And although all precincts reported results, mail-in ballots have not yet been counted in any of the races. In Pawtucket, Mayor Don Grebian picks up a win over independent Nathan Luciano, and independent Warwick Mayor Frank Picossi says that he is appearing to be going to a third term.